What fuels this whole self-improvement and personal development thing? You know, the urge to wake up early, drink green smoothies, run a marathon, and become the next Marie Kondo of your own life? Or maybe, like most of us, you're just trying to survive Mondays. Is it ambition, society, or just an extreme fear of mediocrity? Let's start with the big picture. Improvement, development, growth. All buzzwords, right? In today's world, there's this huge emphasis on being the best version of yourself. But why? Where did this come from? I mean, do you think medieval peasants worried about glow-ups? Nope. They were too busy, surviving. But fast forward to today, and improvement is everywhere. It's like we're told if we aren't constantly trying to get better, we're somehow falling behind. But who decided that? And why does it feel so urgent? It's kind of like those video games where there's always another level, another power-up. And we're all here running around, trying to level up ourselves in the game of life. It's affirmations, resilience, and kale. So, where does this urge to get better even come from? Well, surprise, surprise. It's in our heads, literally. Psychologically speaking, humans are kind of wired to improve. It's part survival, part satisfaction. When we achieve something, our brains release dopamine. It's a feel-good chemical, like when you nail a hard level on your favorite game or finally finish your to-do list, or at least a third of it. Dopamine is our brain's little award button saying, "Good job, human, you survived another day." This is basically evolutionary biology's way of giving us a high five. So when we accomplish something, that rush of dopamine reinforces our behavior, making us want to chase after it again. It's like Pavlov's dog experiment, but with us as the dogs, and success as the treat. So, in a way, we're all just chasing those little hits of satisfaction. But there's more to it than that. Self-improvement isn't just a fleeting high, it's linked to a deeper need for meaning. Enter Viktor Frankl, an Austrian neurologist, psychiatrist, and Holocaust survivor, who came up with this radical idea: the primary drive in life isn't pleasure, but the pursuit of meaning. For a lot of people, self-improvement is wrapped up in finding some sense of purpose. Why am I here? What am I doing? What does it all mean? Heavy stuff. Imagine you're washing dishes on a Tuesday night and you suddenly think, am I just going to be doing this forever? You're not alone. For many of us, the urge to improve is really about wanting life to feel, well, meaningful. It's about hoping that if we grow, develop, and reach our goals, life will somehow feel more fulfilling. In fact, there's a pretty interesting study where psychologists asked people what they valued more, happiness or meaning. And while happiness sounds great, the vast majority actually chose meaning. They wanted to feel connected to something bigger than themselves. So when we're setting these goals to be better, we're often looking for a sense of purpose, something that gives our life some depth beyond just day-to-day survival. Of course, it's not just about dopamine and meaning. We can't ignore that big old elephant in the room: society. Yep, turns out the world around us has a lot to say about our self-improvement journey. Ever felt like you need to have certain goals or be a certain way just because, well, everyone else is doing it? We live in a time where everyone's goals and achievements are on full display, 24/7. If your friend's doing a juice cleanse, suddenly you're thinking, maybe I should drink more green things too. And then there's social media, where everyone seems to have their life so together, complete with sunrise hikes and perfectly organized closets. It's not just FOMO, it's FOGO, fear of getting outdone. Let's face it, we're not just trying to impress ourselves. It's kind of like having a crowd watching you play a video game, and now you've got to nail that combo to prove you're good at it. But this can mess with our motivations. Are we setting goals that actually mean something to us? Or are we just trying to keep up with everyone else's highlight reels? Hey, quick break here. If you're vibing with this exploration of self-improvement, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up and click the notification bell so you don't miss any of our deep dives into the big questions about, well, why we do the things we do. All right, now back to the good stuff. Which brings us to another important question. Why are we doing this? Are we improving because it genuinely feels good, or because we're told we should? Psychologists call this the difference between intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation comes from within. It's something you do just because it feels meaningful or enjoyable. Extrinsic motivation? Well, that's when you're doing it for a reward like money, recognition, or likes on Instagram. You know, like that one time you pretended to love running because your friend runs marathons, or that phase where you thought minimalism was your thing, but really you just like the aesthetic. We've all been there. When it comes to self-improvement, intrinsic motivation is the magic sauce. Research even shows that people who are intrinsically motivated are more likely to stick to their goals, feel satisfied, and be, well, happier. So maybe the best goals aren't about impressing anyone else or hitting society's checklist, but about what truly resonates with us. Now here's where it gets real. Sometimes the quest for self-improvement isn't just exhausting, it's downright toxic. When you're constantly striving to be better, there's a tendency to feel like you're never enough. Cue the burnout, self-doubt, and, ironically, all the things we were trying to improve away in the first place. It's like setting 30 New Year's resolutions every Monday and being disappointed by Friday because you've only tackled 0 of them. Psychologists call this the better, faster, more syndrome. It's when the urge to improve becomes so extreme that it starts to feel like a relentless chase instead of a rewarding journey. If we're always pushing ourselves for the next win, we risk forgetting why we started in the first place. Sometimes the healthiest self-improvement is just taking a break. So what fuels self-improvement? Is it dopamine, purpose, society? Maybe all of the above. In the end, it's a mix, a cocktail of brain chemistry, cultural expectations, and personal meaning. But here's the thing. Self-improvement doesn't need to be a chore, or a competition, or a measure of self-worth. Maybe it can just be about trying to live a life that feels good to you. At the end of the day, self-improvement is about what feels right for you. Not what society says, not what Instagram says, not even what the latest trend says. And maybe, just maybe, the best version of yourself is already here, learning and growing, but also okay with where you are.